called Lectio Divina. It is a kind of divine reading. And what I love about Lectio Divina is that it is a slow and formational way of engaging the Bible. It can help us move from our heads to our hearts. Lectio Divina is reflective, meditative, receptive, and responsive. I'm so looking forward to sharing this with you today. I'm Jem Fadling, and it's time for I Can Do That. Let's begin with a little Lectio 101, and then I will guide you in the practice as we experience Psalm 73, verses 23 to 26 together. So, here are the 4 movements of Lectio Divina. The first one is read, and then reflect, and then respond, and then rest. Now, with Lectio Divina, rather than gathering information, we seek to allow God to meet us in our hearts and minds in a spirit of transformation. We allow ourselves to sink into the passage, to linger, to think, yes, but also to feel and to experience. Now, you would first choose a brief passage of Scripture, and a portion of a psalm is a great place to begin. And then you can make your way through the 4 movements of Lectio Divina. So again, let's start with read. Read the Scripture aloud once through without stopping. Take time to listen. Notice a phrase or two. Underline it or write it down if you want. The second movement is reflect. Now you're going to read this brief passage aloud a second time. Notice anything new that captures your attention, or maybe your underlined phrase remains your focus. Allow it to soak in a bit. Chew on it for a few moments in the same way you would savor your favorite meal. Now, the third movement is respond. Read the Scripture aloud a third time, and notice what happens in your heart as you read. What do you feel? What desires, questions, or requests emerge? Allow a prayer to bubble up from inside of you and respond naturally to the passage in the context of relationship with God. And finally, we rest. And now you're just taking a few moments to be with God. You're resting in God's loving presence. There's no agenda, just relationship. And let God enjoy your presence as you enjoy God's. And remember to take your time with this. Give yourself space to breathe between each movement. The essence of Lectio Divina is to allow ourselves to be seen by God through the Scriptures and then to respond by offering ourselves back to God, who is love. So now let's move into some practice. With that brief Lectio Divina primer, let's try it on together with Psalm 73. I'm going to read it 3 times, and each time I'm going to offer you the guidance we spoke of, and then I'm going to give you some space to reflect. If you need more time in between each reading, of course, simply pause and unpause as necessary. I'm going to probably give you too brief a pause as we make our way through this podcast, but again, pause as you need to. So, I'm going to read the psalm now, so take time to listen deeply. Notice a phrase or two. And if you are not walking or driving, you can underline or write it down if you'd like to. So here's Psalm 73, verses 23 to 26. Yet I am always with you. You hold me by my right hand. You guide me with your counsel, and afterward you will take me into glory. Whom have I in heaven but you? And earth has nothing I desire besides you. My flesh and my heart may fail, but God is the strength of my heart and my portion forever. As I read the passage aloud a second time, take time to reflect. Notice anything new that captures your attention, or maybe your underlined phrase remains your focus. Allow it to soak in a bit and chew on it for a few moments in the same way you would savor your favorite meal. Yet I am always with you. You hold me by my right hand, and you guide me with your counsel. And afterward you will take me into glory. Whom have I in heaven but you? And earth has nothing I desire besides you. My flesh and my heart may fail, but God is the strength of my heart and my portion forever. As I read the passage aloud a third time, take a moment to respond. Notice what happens in your heart as you listen. What do you feel? What desires, requests, or questions emerge? Allow a prayer to bubble up from inside you. Respond naturally to the passage in the context of relationship. Yet I am always with you. You hold me by my right hand. You guide me with your counsel, and afterward you will take me into glory. Whom have I in heaven but you? And earth has nothing I desire besides you. My flesh and my heart may fail, but God is the strength of my heart and my portion forever. And now we turn to the important movement of rest. Take a few moments to be with God. Rest in God's loving presence, no agenda, just relationship, and let God enjoy your presence as you enjoy God's. I hope you'll return to this episode and allow yourself to sink into the process of divine reading, Lectio Divina. It's a relatively simple pattern that allows you to take a few verses and really soak in them, allowing the Spirit to form you further into the image of Christ. And here's your I can do that for this week. My guess is you simply listen to me go over this today, and that's great. My invitation to you now is that you simply try this practice on sometime this week. Give yourself the gift of soaking in Scripture and notice what happens in your heart, mind, and body. And remember, you're making your way forward one small, simple, and gracious step at a time.